Hello everybody. Can you hear me okay? How are we doing? Okay, today we are going to be talking about, let's go ahead and we are going to be talking about calorie deficit. There we go. All right. Does that look the right way for you guys? All right, Vince, did I flip it correctly? It looks right for me. Okay, good. Okay, folks, today we are going to be talking about some really basic stuff. I've gone over this before, but it's actually a good thing because every time I hear people's questions about it, I get a better sense of like what it is people have a hard time understanding about these concepts, and that's totally okay. Like, I'm here to meet you guys where you're at. Okay, so if you miss any part of it, remember the full replay is at Lose Weight with John. Okay, so I'm just gonna dive in and start talking. I wonder how many viewers we can get in here. We only got 5 right now. All right, so we're gonna start with this notion, okay? Would you take your car, let's say you took your car into the shop, okay? Or let's just say you're on a live chat on TikTok about cars and you wanna know how to fix your car, okay? So let's say my name is Car Fixer Guy Coach, and you guys, Russell, pay attention. We're gonna talk about that, okay? So Russell, let's say you're going to get your car fixed and you ask him, how do I fix my car? The car fix-it guy, mechanic, is gonna say, what kind of car do you have? And most people right now, if I ask them the equivalent question, they would have no idea. And they'd say, well, what year is it? And they might say, I don't know, right? Well, hopefully you know what year you are, okay? So as we've covered, there are websites that can calculate your calories, right? They will go in and they'll tell you what kind of car you have and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But wouldn't it be nice if you could figure out all those things for yourself without having to trust some random online calculator? Today I'm trying the Mountain Dew Rise energy drink. It's a little bit pineapple-y, a little bit fake tasting. Not that that's all that surprising. It's all right. I still haven't found my energy drink, my diet energy drink of choice. Okay. So my point is, most people have no idea where to go because they don't know their starting point. You can't find your diet calories without knowing what? Can anyone tell me? What do you need to know before we can even begin to talk about Rain White Gummy Bear? Okay, I'll give that a try. Thank you. I've heard good things about the Rain product line. So how many calories should I eat to lose weight, John? I hear this all the time, right? And people say, well, the calculator told me this, and I hear people misusing the term deficit. We'll talk about that. BCR, what does that stand? Yes, your caloric intake, right? The caloric intake that got you where you are, okay? That's called your maintenance That's your maintenance calories, okay? So that's the amount of food that you would have to eat. So the number of calories that you would have to eat to keep your weight at 400 pounds, okay? Oh. Okay, everybody tracking? Hey, Brian. So you need to know how many calories it takes to keep you at your current weight. right? This is the mechanic saying, what kind of car are you driving already? What kind of engine does it have? What kind of oil are you putting in it? What kind of gas are you putting in it? How much, right? Most people can't answer any of these questions. Why? Because we've all been there. Some of you are there right now. Some of you have been there. Everybody knows why this happens because even fit people do it sometimes, okay? Let me give you an example, just so you know I'm not throwing any judgment at anyone, right? Imagine you are the star quarterback. You are just pure pecs and bravado and abs, right? And you know that if you eat a bunch of, treats all summer long, you're not gonna come back looking as good, right? So everybody knows that, like for that star quarterback, they might go from having a complete 8-pack down to just having a 6-pack. But that's the blessing of vanity, is that it's more sensitive to those changes, right? So it's all relative. That might be psychologically as jarring as someone going from 400 pounds to 420 pounds. So that star quarterback, they're not overweight, right? But when they go on vacation, maybe they don't want to think about the exact number of calories they're eating, okay? So we have modes where we want to know what we're eating and modes where we don't want to know what we're eating, okay? People who tend to start getting overweight, they start to psychologically need to put the blinders on, okay? We've all been there. Can anybody give me an amen? Can anybody tell me that they know what I'm talking about? When we start to move our health in a direction toward being overweight and away from our most vibrant, healthy self, we don't want to see our behavior because we are so used to having a judgment and shame response. Word, TIFO, what's up? We are so accustomed to having a shame and guilt response to not wanting to work out or to wanting to eat the pizza. And we are so used to eating the pizza anyways, for reasons I've gotten into in other videos. We have other mechanisms that are pushing us to do the bad thing, even though we don't want to do it, right? So we end up doing the behaviors that we don't want to do. We're conditioned to feel shame about those behaviors. I want to make that clear. The shame is not, it's not like water flowing downhill. Shame does not have to follow eating an entire pizza by yourself in the bathtub, okay? Right? It doesn't have to. So if you were to, in fact, as you learn to divorce, one of the best ways to get rid of an addiction is to actually divorce yourself from the shame of having that addiction, because it gets you out of the same old mental rut that keeps you there. So people put on the blinders to their behavior. They don't want to look at what they're eating. They don't want to be honest with themselves. This actually deepens the divide between their true self and the self that's making the decisions, to sort of take the temporary pain away, knowing that we're making a trade-off that is going to come to bite us in the future. Okay, so blinders. Blinders are one of the biggest impediments to you knowing yourself, knowing the system that you are, and being aware of just some basic information about it, right? The equivalent of driving a car into the shop and knowing what kind of make and model your car is, knowing what kind of oil you put into it last, knowing what kind of gas you put into it, knowing how many miles a year you roughly drive, okay? So a lot of people want to know, John, what's my calories? Give me a number. Well, first of all, you're all special little snowflakes. No one number is going to be exactly right for you. Even the best calculator, and I'll tell you, Precision Nutrition Calculator is, I think, the best. There are some other good ones, right? But maybe I like Precision Nutrition Calculator because maybe it's wrong, but closer to the way that I skew away from the general population, right? So you might go to Precision Nutrition Calculator and get the wrong number, right? There is no calculator that's going to take away the need for this process that I'm going to talk about. However, as you go through this process of getting to know yourself, trying 2 or 3 different calculators is sort of like getting a bid from a mechanic, right? How much is this going to cost? How long is it going to take? If you talk to 3 different mechanics and you get 3 different answers, you can kind of go, okay, you know, I didn't know it was going to cost this much, but one bid was $2,000, one bid was $1,300, and one bid was $1,650. So you know, okay, I guess it's going to cost me on average $1,650. Okay, that knowledge is very key for you and how you're going to make your decisions going forward. So those calculators can help you sort of calibrate, right? If you're going, man, I've been eating 4,500 calories a day, and John is telling me to reduce that by 500. I'm going to eat 4,000 calories a day. Find someone on TikTok who's advising people to eat 4,000 calories a day for weight loss, right? But that might be very well the best thing for you to do. Why? Because we don't need to crash diet you to success. In fact, that is how you rebound. That is how you burn out. We do not need to put you on the lowest calories possible that you could possibly stand. We want to put you on just a little bit less than the amount of calories that was keeping you at 400 pounds. And then your weight is going to slowly start to dip, okay? Remember, losing weight is not like rolling a boulder uphill. It doesn't have to be. It feels that way because we end up choosing the most stressful, most difficult ways possible because we're anxious to get it done quickly. We really lack hope or confidence in ourselves that we're going to get it done. So we end up looking for these like the get rich quick solutions, right? That equivalent to weight loss. So I'm not saying you eat 4,000 calories, right? I'm just saying theoretically, if you've been at 4,500 to get to 400 pounds, 4,000 would be a step in the right direction, okay? So we've talked about blinders, and now we're gonna talk about how to take the blinders off. So allow me to erase. And while I'm erasing, I will remind you that the full replay to this video will be available on my Facebook group, Lose Weight with John. Okay. The Facebook group is just getting started. We're figuring out the logistics of how to help hundreds of people. We've had 600 plus people join the group just this week. So bear with us as we find better ways to, release products. Thanks, Brian. To help people, I'm gonna maybe release a workbook here pretty soon. I'm an author by trade. No one's asked me what I do for what I've done for a living. I haven't always been a weight loss coach. So I know a lot about self-publishing, so I should be able to, if I find the time, to, write and publish sort of either small, quick study guides to help you get through this stuff on your own, or the stuff that I really, really am into, which is the mental shifts that can, that's what's really driving the boat. This is sort of the details. All right, so here we go. Feel free to join the Facebook group, Lose Weight with John. There is a link in the bio. Here, let me say that. Link, bio. Okay, so take the blinders off. Okay, this is what we're gonna call the power of awareness, okay? Awareness is not shame. Awareness is not feeling bad. Awareness is not trying to change. Okay? Awareness is simply being willing to take a real look at the things you eat and drink in a day. Now, how many people just felt their sphincters clench and bile rise in their throat at the thought of having to be totally... Thanks, Jess, man. So how many people had a visceral bodily like feeling of panic at the thought of like being totally honest with themselves about everything they put in their mouth that has calories in it, okay? Most people have some level of reaction to that. It can be very uncomfortable. However, the reason you're having that visceral reaction is not because that reaction has to happen, but because we've actually stopped the process that reaction is trying to kick off. We don't let these feelings process, okay? That's more into the mental and emotional ninja stuff that we can get into later. But if you learn how to start being aware of things, and when shame shows up, like when you write down, hey, I ate 15 donuts today, okay? The shame is gonna kick in immediately, right? But again, do you have to change the shame, right? Not only are we not trying to change our eating, we're not trying to change our feelings about our eating, okay? Because this is why people get severely overweight or addicted to stuff or end up being workaholics, sexaholics, Patriots fans. Okay? Sorry, I'm kidding. I don't care about the Patriots. It's just a joke that I've been using far too often lately. Okay, so awareness does not require you to change your behavior or your feelings about your behavior. So when you're becoming aware of your full daily food intake, the key trick is not just being, it's not tough love, right? Is there such a thing as tough love? I mean, it's kind of like saying, okay, I'm going to punch you in the face, but I want it to feel really good. Right? We have all these sayings that just go completely unchallenged. Love hurts. Truth hurts. Right? And it's like, I ask weird questions like, does truth have to hurt? Does love have to feel like someone's being a jerk to you? Like, gee, maybe these things are other symptoms of things in our society that are just there because we keep passing them on from generation to generation, not because they're true or helpful. We may encounter many of these things as we start to break down why so many of us went from being healthy kids to, adults who are really hurting under massive amounts of physical and emotional, spiritual weight. So you log all the donuts. You say, I ate 15 donuts today. And by all means, this would be a great thing to add to my my workbook. Don't just log your entire food intake for a day. Go ahead and log the feelings, right? Because by writing them down, this is going to help you be with them. Okay? It's going to help you be with the feelings, because what you're used to doing is having a feeling and looking for a way to shut it off. Because when we look honestly at our behavior and we're not happy with it, we have a reflexive a reflexive pattern of feeling bad about it. And then we either engage in spirals of self-hatred or old beliefs, the thing your parents said to you that's just been stuck in your craw for 30 years that just kind of defines the limitations of what you think you can be, right? These start to really irritate those age-old sensitive places, and it gets so uncomfortable that we immediately just are like, we got to turn this off, right? So what do? We go back to our old friend, food, right? If you're 400 pounds, one of your favorite ways to distract yourself from pain is probably food and alcohol, maybe cigarettes, maybe TV, maybe all of those things all at once, okay? So we take the blinders off by placing awareness on our eating and everything we drink that has calories in it, okay? Awareness is a spotlight. and a spotlight does not judge. It's just illuminating what is, okay? And so much, whenever I say anything that sounds like too hippy dippy or too like woo woo spiritual, if you give it time, you're gonna see that what I'm actually talking about is something so insanely practical. And what's so practical about this is that all we're doing is looking at reality, okay? We're not saying, you need to take a cold, hard dose of reality, right? That's tough love. That's, I want you to feel pain because I'm tired of dealing with you, right? This is a very quiet thing. Awareness happens with you noticing the voice in your head without participating in it. And that is a huge key, okay? And so by not trying to change anything, you're gonna remove yourself from the cycle. Now, I suggest that you do this the following way, okay? This is where the rubber is going to meet the road. Okay, we're gonna get a little bit more practical here. Ooh, I thought of a much catchier heading. The calorie reality. Ooh, ominous. Tremble before the calorie reality, okay? So how are we gonna find out the calorie reality, okay? We are going to log all food and beverage intake. You can start, well, I'll get to that later. This needs to be eventually exact, which means you're going to need to measure. Okay? If you go to the doctor and they say, "How much do you weigh today?" Do you just get to tell them? It's not like the DMV where you just kind of tell them and they take your word for it. The doctor's going to be like, "Get on the scale. I'm going to measure this," right? You don't have to take your word for it, right? We're going to put our daily eating on a metaphorical and quite literal scale, okay? Now, you can try to be exact in, using measuring cups and things like that, but those are notoriously problematic. People who have been around calorie counting for a while, they don't use measuring cups because there is no universal measuring cup. There's no one true measuring cup locked away in a vault somewhere, right? They're all made by different manufacturers. They all have slightly different specifications. And the difference between one measuring cup or measuring spoon from another can be laughably different, okay? So the best way to find exact measurements is a food scale. These can be had for $10 to $20 on Amazon, okay? I've had 2 food scales in the last 4 years, okay? They cost me one cost me $8.99, one cost me $22, I think. And one broke after 2 years, and I've had the other one for a year and a half. Okay, this is such a small investment for turning your life entirely around, okay? So we log all food and beverage, okay? This is key. Drinking your calories is it's one of our favorite ways to sneak calories in and not count it, okay? So you can look at the nutritional information on a package, okay? I've got my Mountain Dew energy drink here, okay? It's gonna say how many calories in a serving, and then it's gonna tell you up here, serving size. Here it says 1 can. Do you guys want me to go get something from my kitchen as an example? I'll be right back. Hang tight. I'm gonna get something that'll show up better. All right. So here we have a bag of bread. Here we have the calories, okay? Here we have the serving size. It says 1 slice. Okay, when you're new to this, you might say, oh, a slice. Okay, but not everything comes in nice, neat slices, right? What you want to start doing, no matter what it is, I mean, with bread, you don't have to go crazy and weigh it out, but everything else, you want to look at this number, 38 grams, okay? If it says, if you're like eating some, I don't know, like I have these like Quaker little rice, like tiny rice cakes with like flavoring on them. They're pretty nice to snack on, except I never snack. Don't do as I say, not as I do. You know, those, they say 13 crisps are 1 serving. But if I count out 13 and it's not the same as the weight on the package. So by law, what has to be right? The weight, okay? The weight is always going to be a much more reliable way of measuring out your servings rather than any of those like other specifications, be it a cup or, you know, a gallon or a teaspoon, whatever, okay? And if you have more questions as to how to read nutritional labels, we can go over that some other time. I think most people know how. There you go. Okay. So you would, if we were, let's say bread was something like those Rice Crisps, we would put a bowl on our food scale, turn it on, right? Make sure it's at 0 and start adding Rice Crisps in there until it hit the serving amount, which for those Rice Crisps and most things is either 28 grams, which is 1 ounce, or 30 grams. I don't know why it's like, because 28 grams is technically an ounce. Maybe 30 is just like a nice round number. But so many things are 28 or 30 grams. And that makes it easy. You start to notice these things, right? Now, what happens if you start weighing things out and you don't, and we're trying to be aware of what we're eating without changing things, right? Even if it's just you alone with yourself and you're sitting there on the kitchen counter trying to weigh out exactly how many Doritos you usually eat while you watch the game. When you have to weigh it out, you might not want to be like pouring out as much as you usually eat. So here's a trick, okay? Put your big bag of Doritos on a food scale, okay? Or pour the whole bowl, or pour the whole bag into a bowl, like a big salad bowl, right? Like you'd use at a party, okay? Weigh the whole thing, okay? Say, okay, I have 500 grams of chips here. Now, you go to your couch and you go ahead and enjoy your chips just like you would. No judgment, no shame, right? And you would say, okay, this is what I normally eat. If you eat an entire bag of Doritos, right, then you eat the whole thing, right? You do what you normally do. We're not trying to change habits yet. We're trying to actually keep our habits the same so we can find the baseline. This is very important information. Who else on the internet is telling you have to eat Doritos in order to lose weight? Okay, that's not really what I'm saying, but. So now you take your empty bowl and go back and weigh it if you weighed it along with the chips. Or let's say you ate half of the chips roughly, but are you just gonna eyeball it? No, we're not gonna trust measuring cups. We're definitely not gonna trust our eyes, okay? So you take your bowl back and you weigh it again. Now, when we started, we had 500 grams. Now we weigh it and there's 220 grams of chips left in the bowl. So we know that we ate 280 grams, okay? So you bust out your calculator, you say 280, you divide it by the serving size of the chips, which is probably gonna be 28 or 30, depending on the bag. Divide it by 30, right? And that's gonna spit out a number. And that's how many servings of those chips you ate, exactly. So that would be 7 1/3 servings. So you would go onto your food log and write down 7.33 servings of Cool Ranch Doritos, right? And then you can, since you still have that number right on your calculator, punch in times 140 calories per serving. How do I just know off the top of my head? how much a serving of Doritos is, I don't know, okay? And I'm not gonna answer questions like that, okay? I'm not on trial here. Okay, so you would get 7.33 times 140, okay? And that would come out to something like, 1,000 calories, okay? And so then you would put an exact number by your food log for those Doritos. And you would do that for everything you eat throughout the day, trying to be as honest as possible. I would do this for 3 to 7 days. Okay? Now you may be thinking, John, I gotta log everything for 3 to 7 days? Yes, you do, because we can't just take one day. If you eat the exact same foods every day religiously, then you are the most dedicated person at being overweight that I have ever met. Most of us like a little variety, right? But if you are very, very much in a habit, this is going to be a lot easier. Maybe that's why you only need 3 days, okay? If you have very little variation in your diet, that's going to actually help, and it's going to help us get our number much faster, okay? Now, do you need to go a full 7 days? I don't think so. Cheers, Troy. Yeah, I think 3 days is a good minimum. You can definitely do 5 if your first 3 days are like 4,000 calories, 2,000 calories, 9,000 calories, then maybe that's so much variation day to day. And that can happen because, people who are dealing with obesity or being overweight, sometimes they have very erratic eating patterns. They go days where they barely eat anything. And then the next day they are just ravenous. And so they overeat that day. They eat enough for 3 days, right? So do what's right for you to where you got a number that you feel is really representative of what you eat on an average day to maintain your weight where it is now, okay? Now, in the grand scheme of things, what is 3 days? What is a week, right? This is important stuff, guys. This is what part of how weight loss becomes easy, right? I dare say effortless. And people, I know that sounds like some BS marketing gimmick, but believe me, this is, at the end of the day, this is about treating yourself well, going outside and playing, going to a gym and playing, and eating food that makes you feel good, right? Why does that have to be such a chore? When we start to undo all the crazy thought cycles, that's what's hard. It's hard to be 400 pounds. So I will say it till I'm blue in the face, till I'm dead. Losing weight is easy. And if you don't believe that, then go try being 420 pounds. Okay? I lost 200 pounds and it was friggin' miserable, right? So I know what it's like to lose weight and have it be miserable. And I know what it's like to lose weight and make it easier on myself. Okay? Why do we insist on making weight loss so difficult? Because we hate ourselves. Or we think we do, right? The same reason we make everything. Do people usually just have a weight problem? Does that not trickle out into their career, their relationships, their finances? These things rarely sequester themselves to one nice, neat pie slice of our lives, okay? So as you learn if you can make weight loss easy, guess what? Your relationships are gonna start to be more peaceful and more beneficial. Your work life will probably improve. You'll learn boundaries. You'll learn assertiveness. All these things that can be so scary to learn. If you learn how to lose weight my way, the easy way, it's gonna trickle out into all other areas of your life. Okay, sorry if there's about to be a disturbance. There are 2 small street children that I help mentor. They're local youths who have committed varieties of crimes, and I try to shepherd them in the right ways, okay? So, I'm just kidding, they're my kids. So, now that we have our number, this entire talk, by the way, so far has been about just figuring out what we actually eat in a day, right? That is actually a worthwhile. Where can you find the information that worked for me? Zen, Jenny, Jen. That's what I'm doing. Okay, I gotta unlock the door for my kids. Hold on. Okay, do you guys want to say hi to TikTok real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. Poke your head in. Say hi. You gotta be quick. I'm teaching them stuff.
Okay.
Poke your head in.
It's actually. Okay.
You gotta poke your head in. Come on there. Say hi.
Hi. I want to say hi.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay, say hi.
It's not near me. Hi.
Okay. Okay, I'm that guy showing you pictures of my kids on the airplane. Sorry. Okay. Okay, get out of here. You get.
Yeah.
You get.
Chloe.
Okay, go to your room.
Okay.
All right. Apologies for the interruption. Those are the local street children, the at-risk youth from the local juvenile detention hall that I mentor sometimes on the weekends. Okay. Sorry for their interruption. Oh, we lost 4 viewers, guys. Unbelievable. Thanks a lot. Just kidding.
Here. Now I'm the dog.
All right, girls.
Okay.
Close the door, please. So professional, right? This is the age of the live stream from your house, okay? So we have our maintenance number now, right? We have a number. I'm going to say, for the sake of argument, our number is 4,000 calories a day. We believe that we eat 4,000 calories a day to maintain our weight. Oh, but I gained you. All right, well, you're all I need, Luann. John Oakes. Yes. Zen, Jenny, Jen. Jen. Do I know you, Jenny? I can't see from your profile pic. I mean, sugar-free syrups are, I think they're gross, but you can use them. If they don't have sugar or calories in them, great. You don't have to use sugar-free stuff every day for the rest of your life. Okay, we don't know each other yet. Okay, cool. You can just use sugar-free stuff strategically to, win the war. It's kind of like saying, oh, we give soldiers guns to go fight a war. We don't say, hey, go use this gun every day of the rest of your life. Even in extreme situations, we know that certain tools are used for difficult tasks because they're better than the alternative, right? Diet drinks, sugar-free stuff, yes, maybe they have chemicals that in time can be proven to be carcinogens or anything like that, but they haven't been proven, okay? The studies that people link to have been thoroughly debunked. Believe me, I spent a long time, I was king. Oh no. Okay. Whoops. I was the king of, thinking diet sodas were the worst thing in the world. But, okay, on that note, join the Facebook group. I upload them there. Yes, thank you, Vince. So let's say we find our maintenance. We think it's 4,000 calories. Is our actual maintenance 4,000 calories? Probably not exactly. But do we need to know exactly? No. We got close enough. And close enough is by definition close enough. This is not, this is horseshoes and hand grenades, okay? Close enough is close enough. So we know 4,000 calories is going to keep our weight the same. Okay? If we were to reduce, I'm sorry. Girls. 1 second. Unbelievable. I'm trying the Mountain Dew Rise energy drink. It's kind of pineapple-y. It's not that great. Yes, lose weight with John. There's also a link in my bio. Okay? It's okay. Okay, if you're at work and missing most of this, that's okay. Replay, full replay at Lose Weight with John. Okay? Facebook group linked in my bio. All right. Casey, you asked to join. Okay? I will be taking a cold, hard look at you and seeing if you're... I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'll let you in. So if we move this down to 3,500 calories a day, our weight will slowly decrease over time. Will this happen in a nice, neat, linear fashion day to day? Will the scale go down 1 notch every day for the rest of your life? Am I allowed to shout obscenities on TikTok? No, okay? It's not gonna go down like this, just so we're clear. It's gonna go like this. Right? Mentally prepare yourself for this and you're going to be just fine, okay? This is one of the things, remember we talk about how accepting reality is going to make weight loss easy, okay? Accepting reality is going to take you out of those mental cycles that keep you trapped. Accept this reality, okay? Your water levels fluctuate, okay? The glycogen levels in your muscles. That's literal like fuel in your muscles. Okay? At any given time, you have about 1.5 pounds of that in your muscles. When your body uses a gram of glycogen, it has to expend the 3 grams of water that are surrounding that molecule. So if you burn through a bunch of your glycogen stores because of a good workout, maybe the next day you lost 3 pounds and you're like, yes, I finally hit, 350, and you're celebrating because of this huge milestone. And then the next day you weigh 352.8. And all of a sudden you're weeping, covering yourself in ashes, wearing sackcloth in the streets because you are horrified right? It's just fluctuation. And this is why you want to go by your 7-day average, not just every day's weight, because that one day is not a significant piece of data. Okay, these data sets are not significant until we've accumulated a few of them to average out the outliers. Okay, so if you eat 3,500 calories, you're gonna average a reduction in weight. Okay, if we were to eat 4,500 calories, we would average an increase in weight. Okay. Now, 500 calorie increments are interesting because in most cases, for most people, taking out 500 calories a day will result in about 1 pound of tissue reduction per week. Note I said tissue and not fat, okay? Your body loses tissue because of calories in, calories out, and it will put on tissue because of calories in, calories out, okay? So we don't automatically lose 1 pound of fat over a week when we make a deficit of 500 calories. We lose tissue, okay? That's why when people say, can I eat this? Can I eat that? Can I do this? Can I do that? The answer is always yes if you have your calories in order. But how do you make sure that weight loss is from fat and not your lean tissues? This is why nutrition becomes important later on, okay? But for now, we just got to get the math right because this is the base of the pyramid, right? If we don't get this part right, nothing else matters. We're not going to lose weight if we don't get this right, okay? Hello from Tennessee, the fictional state of Tennessee. Okay. I don't believe Tennessee exists. It's a scam being perpetrated by the Tennessee industrial complex, and I won't be told otherwise. Okay. So if you dropped from 4,000 calories a day to 3,500 calories a day, you would lose a pound of tissue a week. Now, you could lose more than that on average because you're probably carrying a lot of water if you're very overweight and you've been eating a lot of like processed foods. Northamptonshire, UK, Northamptonshire, UK, well, whatever. Hello from Missouri. Hello to everybody in Missouri except for people in St. Louis. No, Tennessee does not exist. It's like a state of mind. Okay? Close to Oxford. Oh, right on. Okay. New Jersey. What else? People just love putting in where they're from. I really like it too. I love geography. So we've got 3,500 calories a day is what we're eating on a diet. Most people, when they're eating this many calories, let's just take a stab at how many calories they would try to eat in a day on a diet if they're going to try to lose all their weight. Arizona. Most people would start to eat somewhere around 16 to 2,500 calories, probably, if they were arbitrarily setting a calorie marker. Now, this would at best be 1,500 calories less than their body is used to taking in a day. It could be less than half. If you do that, is your body going to say, hey, let's get rid of fat? Remember, when fat on your body, yeah, some people go, oh, I'm just kidding. It was just, I went to KU, so we had a lot of people from St. Louis, and I would just constantly make fun of them, especially when I was teaching a class and I could just like roast St. Louis, and the kids in my class couldn't do anything about it. It was just a way to have fun with people. St. Louis is a perfectly nice place. Hi from South Carolina. I just talked to a friend from South Carolina this morning. She gave me advice on Facebook group. Facebook, the replay is at Lose Weight with John. Okay, starvation mode is, that's a loaded term, but more or less, yeah, your body will go, let's not put a label on it, right? Let's just say that your body is going to get rid of tissue, and it's going to get rid of a lot of tissue, right? It has to, calories in, calories out. But is it going to get rid of fat calories? Okay, so here's a fat molecule. How much does it cost your body to maintain a fat molecule? It costs this much energy. I mean, just the most basic, minute amount of energy you could possibly ask for, okay? But what about lean mass, okay? We've got the same mass of lean mass, right? Fat is less dense than lean mass, so I'm making this circle a little bit bigger. How much energy does it cost your body to maintain lean mass, i.e. muscle? It requires a good deal of energy. This is metabolically active tissue. It's tissue that requires energy to support and maintain it. Fat stores, by definition, right? That's the whole reason we have them, is they don't require energy. They are what we save up for a rainy day in case we need to burn energy to support these things in a slight calorie deficit. If we go into a massive calorie deficit, our body goes, hold on, we're not going to burn fat. We're in crisis mode. We got to get rid. We're not just going to dip into our savings to cover the shortfall in our bills this month. We have to start selling the furniture. Can you eat too few calories and not lose weight? Yes, you can, okay? Because at first, you're going to lose lean mass like crazy for the reasons I'm talking about. And then once your lean mass goes down, eventually, what was a maintenance of 4,000 calories, because your body started chipping away at lean mass because you're on a crash diet, guess what? You think you're losing weight at 3,500, but you just reduced your lean mass. And part of what makes you burn 4,000 calories in a day is your total body weight, but especially your lean mass. So now your new maintenance, after you burned off all your muscle might be 3,500. And people wonder, John, I've been cutting calories. I've been at 1,600 calories for 2 months, and I lost weight like crazy. I lost 40 pounds in the first 2 months, and then I just hit a plateau. I just stopped losing. It's like, first of all, were you losing fat during that time? Or were you losing half fat, half lean mass, right? How hard of a plateau did you really hit? Because the scale looked like this, but really your fat loss was more like this, okay? And it looked like this because you were hemorrhaging your lean mass, okay? Too much sense. Okay, Brusso81. I can't tell you what number is too low for a 169-pound woman because I don't know if that's a 20-year-old track athlete, okay, or a 98-year-old woman in a home, okay? Those are two very different 169-pound women, okay? So go back and watch the replay of this whole video because this is what I talk about, okay? What if you mix the gym while crash dieting? Okay. If you stimulate your muscles a great deal and you are genetically blessed when it comes to muscle gain, you will still lose lean mass in a crash diet. I know this anecdotally because I know I'm 6'4". I currently am fairly lean. I can see most of my abs when I wake up in the morning. I weigh 247 pounds, okay? Do I sound like someone who has a hard time keeping or maintaining my muscle mass? But I've found, even when I was younger, it was hard to hold on to my muscle mass when I was eating 1,600 calories a day, okay? You can't out-train a crash diet, right? Now, if you are in a caloric deficit and you're actually, part of the reason bodybuilders keep lifting weights so much as they get closer to a show, are they trying to build muscle in those last few weeks before they go into their bodybuilding show? No, the last 10, 12 weeks before a bodybuilding contest, those guys are focusing all on what they call conditioning, which is getting their body fat percentage down into single digits to where they're just shredded beyond all belief and they're miserable. You think that people who lose 100 pounds in 3 months are the only people who rebound? Bodybuilders rebound all the time because they'll go to extreme lengths to lose weight. How do you watch everything you missed? Nikki, Facebook group, Lose Weight with John. And you can hit the link in the bio. Okay, so we've talked about how to protect your lean mass. We will go over this in detail later. But yes, going to the gym helps. It helps a lot, okay? And that's how bodybuilders end up almost crash dieting, but they're so good at it and they're so scientific. I mean, these guys are like, you ever see like those NASCAR teams? They've got like engineers and like there are people not working at NASA because race car teams hire them, poach them, and pay them, $300,000 a year to make these cars go fast. Bodybuilders do the same thing, but it's not at that same crazy scale. So, to keep your maintenance here at 4,000, do you want to go into a nice, steady, easy calorie deficit? Or do you want to try to delude yourself that you're going to lose all the weight? Okay? You want to go nice and easy. Now, does that mean you have to pick a calorie deficit that's only 500 calories? No, because if you're a big guy like me, and my maintenance calories right now is around 4,000. In fact, I'm actually raising my calories right now on my diet because I think my lean mass is increasing because I'm lifting weights and eating a ton of food. But I'm leaning out and as I'm actually slowly increasing my average weekly calories. This stuff works, man. It's crazy when you see it in action. Okay? But if you're at 4,000 calories, can you subtract 1,000 calories a day and, be at 3,000? Like, yeah, I would take a step to 3,500 first. Make sure you feel good. Make sure you can comply to that. And then step down to 3,000. Does that make sense? Always look for ways to, the term shocking your body is used a lot in our sort of fitness culture. And for the most part, when it comes to muscle growth, that's not what really creates muscle growth in the long run. And it's not what creates sustainable fat loss in the long run, okay? Shocking your body is like the equivalent of, instead of playing a really excellent poker hand, shocking your body is the equivalent of picking the table up and throwing it and crying as you stomp out of the room, okay? It works, but only for one time. After that, it's like that old cartoon where the cartoon character comes in for a talent show and his audition is a thing that basically kills him. And the judges are like, that's amazing, you're in the talent show now. And then the ghost floats away and says, oh, but the problem is I can only do that one time, okay? Some of these tricks don't work more than once. And if you try to play your whole hand just to get, another couple pounds off, this is a marathon, not a sprint, okay? So let's do one more section here, right? So you guys have some actionable intelligence. If you go back and watch the replay, you'll have a lot of good stuff to get started with, okay? What is a healthy amount to lose per week, okay? So usually, okay, I am fairly lean. I'm about 17 or 18% body fat, okay? It wouldn't be wise for me to try to lose more than 1% of my body weight a week. As I got down closer to like 13, 12%, it would be kind of detrimental, or what's the word? It wouldn't behoove me to try to go more than like 0.5% per week. So I weigh a little over 240. So 1% a week for me would be 2.4 pounds, okay? That's 1%. So if you have 20 to 30 pounds to lose, right, depending on your size, okay, you might like to go for this 1%. I assume no one here is trying to lose from like 12% body fat down to shredded. If you are, all this stuff will work too. But you might want, if you're a bodybuilder, you might end up going 0.5%, okay? If you are a person who has, 50 to 200 plus pounds to lose, is it safe for you to go a little bit faster than that? Yeah, you can, okay? If you go 1.5% as someone who's severely overweight, okay, I don't think you're gonna have any problems. I am not a medical doctor, okay? I have a PhD in a social science. I am not claiming to be the grand poobah of all this stuff, okay? I've learned this from other professionals, right? And I've applied these to my own life and they're working, so I'm sharing them with you. Always check this stuff out with your doctor, okay? But these are general recommendations that current science is very supportive of, I believe. So 1.5%, if you're 400 pounds, would be 6 pounds a week. Okay, does that sound okay? Yeah. Is that gonna happen every week? Probably not, okay? Now, if you tried to lose 6 pounds a week, that would be roughly times 500 calories. That's gonna be a 3,000 calorie deficit per week, right? If you are eating 6,000 calories a day to stay at 400, which most people actually can keep these weights at relatively low calories, right? It can happen because they've been sedentary, they're not burning a lot of calories. But if you are someone who's burning an insane amount of calories at a very high weight, maybe you could cut out 3,000 calories, but should you? In most cases, no. A lot of people who are 400 pounds, they're not even burning much more than this. So does that mean they have to go full snake diet? No. Okay. Do you need to remove 3,000 calories to get 6 pounds a week off on the scale? When you're 400 pounds or 300 pounds or however many pounds, No, because how much of this 6 pounds is going to be actual lean tissue or fat tissue? Sometimes, especially for those first couple months, it's half or less. I mean, a lot of it's going to be water. So you don't want to arbitrarily math your way into trouble, okay? This is where we don't just try to do calculations and treat ourselves like a computer program. We go back to sort of brass tacks. We know that this is our absolute ceiling. If we start losing more than 6 pounds a week, we probably want to pump the brakes, okay? So we don't just pick a number, cut that out, try to go the max healthy amount. Oh, but John said it was healthy, so I can lose 6 pounds a week, so I'm going to cut out the commensurate amount of calories. No. Here's what we do instead. There we go. Oh. 1.5 is our max, okay? How much is good enough? Well, good enough is different for everyone, okay? I would say probably somewhere, if you're losing 0.5% a week, that's probably good enough. Okay, so you can lose 2 pounds a week. Okay, on average, if you're losing 2 pounds a week, coming down from 400, that's perfectly fine. You know, that in 10 weeks, that's 20 pounds. 20 pounds counts, right? We're not in a race. You don't get a gold medal for getting the weight off quicker. Okay, we've seen lots of people who are able to get the weight off quick. Do those people keep it off? They tend not to. Okay. So, here's your scale, okay? Here's 400, and then we've got 499, 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93, 92, 91, 390, thereabouts, okay? So here's our weight. We start here at how many calories? We start here at 4,000, right? That was our maintenance number. We subtract 500 just to get the ball rolling, right? If we go a week and our weight hasn't changed, we can go ahead and subtract another 500, okay? Now we're at 3,000 calories, okay? And we notice our weight takes a little dip, right? And so we wait another week or two and we notice, okay, I'm down to 397 and really I lost 3 pounds over the last week and a half, okay? I'm losing about 2 pounds a week. Do you feel good? If you feel like death, is it worth it to remove more calories from your diet? No. If you feel good, and you're being honest with yourself, you might be able to remove 250 calories more, right? Because now we're not trying to get movement, we're just trying to goose the movement, okay? And then you start getting more like 4 to 6 pounds a week, and now you're golden, okay? Will this carry on forever into an infinity? Probably not, but that's okay. We'll talk about what to do there for another day. And honestly, even if it did carry on for infinity, we would probably want to voluntarily halt it to take a break. Because your body is an organism. If I walked up and hacked 40 pounds off your body, it would be a trauma, right? If I took a machete and just whacked 40 pounds of fat off of your side, they would have to take you to the hospital, okay? I realize that this is apples and oranges, okay? However, I just want to impress upon you that losing 40 or 50 pounds over the course of, maybe 10 weeks, this is a huge adjustment for your body. Yes, ultimately a healthy one, but it's still a huge adjustment. Somebody was asking about PCOS and hormonal stuff. I get asked about that a lot, okay? If you want to watch after your hormones while you're losing weight, and yes, people with PCOS lose weight. PCOS doesn't suspend the laws of thermodynamics, okay? I know hormones do affect weight loss. I experienced slower weight loss in the beginning, not because I had PCOS, right? But because I was unhealthy. Very few people get to 300, 400, 500 pounds and get to go through this experience with no hormonal imbalances, okay? No one's hormones are friggin' ship shape, okay? When you're trying to defeat massive obesity, okay? I'm not taking anything away from anybody's medical diagnosis, okay? I'm just saying that it's a chicken and egg thing. Are we saying that we can't lose weight because of the medical diagnosis? Or are we kind of dealing with the paradoxical issue of losing weight is probably going to be one of the absolute best things we can do for a lot of our medical diagnoses. diagnoses. And so we need to figure out, since we're not in tippy-top shape hormonally, how do we not put stress on our system? So if you have a medical issue, is your doctor going to say, hey, that guy on the internet who told you to do things slow and steady and not overburden your system, he's wrong? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt your doctor's going to be mad that you come back 40 pounds heavier and you did it in a slow and sustainable way, okay? Most doctors are going to be so shocked because for most doctors, they just never see people lose weight. So they don't think that it's really possible. And they see so many patients losing weight in unhealthy ways that they kind of get a little bit jaded about the whole fitness industry. And a lot of doctors, this is why they don't go anywhere near nutrition and things like that. There's this weird divide between nutrition science and like how doctors are. I talk to some of my doctor friends and I ask them questions about some of this stuff and they're like, I've never learned any of that. Okay. I'm not saying all doctors are ignorant of this stuff, but it happens. Okay. So you always consult with your doctor, always take your doctor's advice over mine. And I never tell you to not listen to your doctor. Okay. However, your medical diagnosis probably is affected and exacerbated, if not outright created, by the lifestyle patterns, okay? So, if we change our patterns, most of our health issues will clear up or get more manageable toward the end. You know, like I still have a couple things out of whack, but they're not like difficult to manage, okay? It's much easier now that I'm at a healthier weight. Okay, so pick a slow and steady rate, but we don't do it arbitrarily. We cut a little bit until we get the scale moving in the direction we want it to go. And then we kind of optimize the rate, okay? If we start shedding too much weight too fast, do we ride that all the way because it feels really great to get the weight off? I would suggest we don't, okay? If you start hemorrhaging weight, what percentage of that is going to be all fat, okay? If you start out losing at this rate, do we all of a sudden start losing water weight? No, you usually lose water weight at the very beginning. So if your first week, your weight loss looks like this, okay? And then it starts to look like this is usually a bit more normal, okay? A big loss in water weight the first week. And a piece of advice that I've gone by from a guy named Dr. Mike Israetel, who is a sports and nutrition scientist. He advises, like when you change up your diet in any way, give it a week before you really start looking at the data in any significant way, because it's just gonna be a kind of chaotic situation for your body. We've already talked about how these things fluctuate naturally when you go messing with your diet, right? Even for good ways, those fluctuations are going to get to be a bit more dramatic. So wait a week before you even really start trying to figure out if your scale is moving in the right direction. And always take measurements, take photos. please, because sometimes the scale, eventually, especially if you start lifting weights and stuff like that, the more you're able to exercise, the more this can happen, where your weight might start to flatten out a little bit, but you look better, you feel better, and your measurements won't lie, okay? So we slowly kind of dial up our weight loss, okay? Weight loss is not done the best by, looking up some online calculator and then finding some abstract number and saying, well, I'm 5'7", 165 pounds, so therefore I should eat this amount of calories. That's not the way it works. That is not the most sustainable way to find what's right for you, okay? So track your food with awareness, not judgment or shame. Go back to the replay and watch all of this. Shine the light of awareness, right? See the reality. Take the blinders off. It's okay. We know why we put them on, and we can be compassionate to that. Find your actual maintenance, the level of calories that has been sustaining your weight, and then reduce those calories a reasonable amount. Be patient. Give it a week. You're probably going to lose some water weight, okay, if you are in a calorie deficit. And then over the second and third week, you'll probably start to see a reduction. Hopefully somewhere between 0.5% and 1.5% of your body weight per week, okay? So if you're 300 pounds, that would be 4.5 between 1.5 and 4.5 pounds per week. If you're 400 pounds, that would be between 2 and 6 pounds a week, okay? Sorry, this is assuming you're 400. Okay. And then you would slowly dial down your calories from there, okay? If your maintenance calories to begin with was more like 3,000, and let's say you cut out 500 calories to start, and so you're already at 2,500, if your scale isn't moving, right? Do you want to cut out a whole another 500? Cut out 20% of the calories that are remaining? That's steep, so maybe you just want to cut out 300, okay, and go down to 2,200 if the scale is absolutely flat, okay? And that should get things moving, okay? And as always, we'll talk about this later. You don't always have to reduce calories to get the scale to move. You can bring up your activity level, which will increase the amount of calories you burn in a day. And there are a lot of benefits to that. There are some drawbacks, mostly benefits though. We will talk about that another day. I studied human geography, so pretty much I'm obsessed with human behavior and why we do the things we do. And so I studied basically why humans move from one place to another, how they do it in our current context. It allows me to study like the big picture of everything. So you're welcome, guys. Find me on the Facebook group, Fasting. Fasting is as long as your doctor's okay with it, fasting can have some benefits. Yeah. Intermittent fasting can have some benefits. It really is up to you. I enjoy the spiritual benefits, the mental benefits, right? Because when you're not eating, you kind of get to be more aware. It's a great way of kind of clearing your day of thinking about food. It's amazing how much we think about food and we think about our next meal. And by taking all that away, we can become more aware of the conversation, the triggers, the impulses in our head that get us to eat, even in a normal way. So protein shakes, they're awesome, especially if you make them yourself. Just joined Facebook, waiting to be accepted. Just requested teaching with no judgment. Yeah, this is a no judgment zone for sure. Yeah, I mean, I am really not judgmental. I think it's because judging other people just isn't interesting to me. I get nothing out of that. So I really enjoy breaking things down on a mechanical level. And I mean, it just does no good to be mad at people for being how they are. Like nobody got to 400 pounds or 300 pounds or wherever they're at because they're bad people. Okay. It's because there's big gaps in our culture. Every culture has benefits and drawbacks, you know, and ours have a lot of cool things going for our society right now. You have a lot of cool things about our economy, and it's a cool time to be alive, you know, but it's also kind of a weird time with some pretty glaring gaps in how we think about caring for ourselves. And obviously, you know, it's a time of technological marvels, but a lot of those technological marvels are just exacerbating our already existent sort of mental health issues, a lot of which aren't new to our generations, right? They're not new to the Gen X and the Gen Y and the millennials and the Gen Z, right? These are things that were passed down to us from the Depression generation, passed down from even before that. You know, if you're from Minnesota, you're probably descended from some pretty hardy, emotionally closed off German stock, who had to, you know, they were whittled down by harsh Minnesota winters, and only the most strong and steadfast survived. And so you know, there's some awesome, you know, yeah, you're going to be culturally more steadfast, and you know, it's going to take less to really rock you. However, maybe in your culture, your regional culture, your national culture, maybe you're not so good at communicating with your family. Maybe you avoid conflict. Maybe you create too much conflict just for entertainment value. Like, right? You go to a friend's house and it's like, oh, this is a totally different dynamic. These people scream at each other constantly, and yet they don't seem to be mad at each other. How's this work? Because if someone in my family screams at each other, they don't talk to each other for a year afterward, right? Everybody's family, everybody's culture, everybody's region, it's got pluses and minuses. And sadly, for most of us, this is a big reason why we ended up dealing with severe weight issues, okay? But that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help in any way I can. I try to give advice that is helpful for most people most of the time. Obviously, you know your situation the best. Your doctor knows your situation the best. I'm just here to offer what I can because God knows we need it. I look forward to helping you guys out more in the future. I have tons more to share. We're just getting started. I can go all day talking about this stuff, and we haven't even really started about getting into the fun stuff, the stuff in your mind that is really going to unleash all of this and make it pretty much easy. I know it sounds too good to be true, but I'm sharing this stuff for a reason. I don't make any money off of this. I just really enjoy helping people lose the mental and emotional weight. And after that, the physical weight kind of just takes care of itself. Yeah, people who gain weight are not bad people. It's not necessarily a character issue because you have found a way to make the pain go away. Okay? There's a lot of people who walk around with six packs and they have demons that just don't show in their subcutaneous fat cells, right? You can walk around with a six pack and still have plenty of addictions and unredeemed parts of your, inner makeup, okay? All right, guys. Stay well. I'll be back with another live chat another day. If you're looking for the replay to this, go to the Facebook group. There will be other cool stuff there in the future. Right now, we're just getting started, so please be patient. If you have questions, put them in the comments. When I do post these live chats, put your questions in the comments, okay? I'll see them, and then when I do the next live chat, when I get started, I will answer those questions first, okay? So you don't have to watch like a 2-hour video just to find your question. I will do those first. All right, thank you so much, guys. See you in the Facebook group. Lose Weight with John. Link in the bio. See you next time.